Today I am headed to Spoleto, Italy, so pack your bags and get ready for another travel adventure with me, Alexandra. Today we are in Spoleto, Italy, a lovely Umbrian hill town, about an hour and 45 minutes north of Rome and easily accessible by train. The church you see here is the beautiful Duomo of Spoleto, which was begun in 1198 AD. Spoleto's origins date back to the ancient Roman times, when it was one of Italy's premier Roman colonies. In the 7th century, it became one of 3 Italian dukedoms held by the Lombards, and in 1354, it became part of the Papal territories. Today, perched on the top of a misty hill, it is a historic and modern town worth exploring. So let's go! Here we are in the sweeping piazza in front of the Duomo. At the top of the hill is the spot where we were just standing. This is a great piazza. The inside of the Duomo was extensively remodeled during the Baroque period, losing much of its medieval charm. But for the historians amongst us, there are some interesting facts to make this place noteworthy. Saint Anthony of Padua not only once preached here, but was also canonized here in the 1200s. The painter Fra Lippo Lippi also did a fresco showing scenes from the life of the Virgin. In a side chapel, they also have preserved this handwritten letter from Saint Francis of Assisi to Brother Leone. This is a note that is almost 800 years old and written by a saint. That is really Saint Francis's handwriting. He is advising Brother Leone to continue following Francis's example of poverty, but if he wants to visit, do not hesitate. Amazing. Leaving the Duomo, we look up and see the mosaic with Christ, who is flanked by both Mary and St. John. He is holding his fingers in a medieval teaching position. In the Middle Ages, teachers would count off each point they were making by pressing their thumb to the finger corresponding to the number of the point. Thus, Mary and John gesture to Christ to remind us to always follow his teachings. Turning away, we head down a little narrow, picturesque street in Spoleto. This street is great. Not only does it overlook the Duomo, but it has picturesque restaurants, little nooks and crannies that are photo-friendly, and my favorite, the absolute cutest little shop in town. This little store is called Desir, and it is adorable. The gentleman who owns it, Pier Luigi De Angelis, behind the desk there, with his wife, makes by hand some of the sweetest little creations you could ever lay your eyes on. Or maybe they could lay their eyes on you. And here they are, little wooden cats, owls, even the tiniest of mice, all hand carved, painted, and done with such simplicity, and yet attention to detail. I love their eyes, wide, open, innocently peering out at you. They're so precious and inexpensive too. He even does decorative wall art out of wood. Horses, an owl resting on the moon, biblical themes, and his shop is a delight to browse. So the next time you are in Spoleto, make sure you stop by Desir and tell them Alexandra sent you. Spoleto is famous for the Ponte delle Torri. This is a 14th century aqueduct that still stands today. It is also a part of the Via Francigena di San Francesco, the ancient road between Rome and Canterbury. In the medieval times, this was a very important pilgrimage route. Even today, pilgrims can make this long journey by foot, which St. Francis likely used when he made his own journey to Rome. In 1994, it was designated a European cultural route by the Council of Europe. It might not be as famous as the road to Santiago, but it's still traveled today. For those spiritual pilgrims, this is a great land for further investigation. There are churches and monasteries and many old hermitages hidden away in the hills. Wandering back through Spoleto, there are a variety of little, winding, medieval streets to explore with charming photo opportunities. And once you wander off the beaten path, the town is very sleepy, and you can easily start to imagine yourself lost in another time. So get your cameras ready and start shooting. I took a walk outside of town to find an ancient medieval church, but what I found next to the church was even more interesting. Okay, I know what you're thinking, a cemetery? But Italian cemeteries are fascinating. If you have not seen one, then check this out. Little piazzas with tiny chapels are surrounded by street after street of miniature houses? That's right, every single one of these is a miniature home for the deceased members of an Italian family. It is incredible. Street after street after street, curving and winding, and lined with miniature family homes for the deceased. It is as though the dead were still alive, and you could just go visit them anytime. These little homes were decorated with pictures of family members, flowers, candles, even paintings on the walls. Some even have cushy chairs where you can sit and visit a spell, and a rug for your feet. And if you can't afford a tiny house, well, second best will just have to do. But even that is nice. Deceased family members are carefully remembered with their photographs. And the flowers, they are amazing. In this tiny roadside shop, an Italian woman and her grandson can purchase candles, flowers. I can just hear their conversation earlier that day. Honey, I'm going to visit Luigi today. Okay, make sure you bring him some of those red roses he likes. Sure will. Anything you want me to tell him? Visiting an Italian cemetery is an experience worth having, at least once when you're in Italy. Back in town, I decided to do a little shopping before catching the train back to Rome, and I came across this tiny little shop. This is Giuseppe Di Salvio and his wife, Maria Cristina Tardioli, hard at work in their shop that they named Ceramiche La Torre at 37 Via Porta Fuga. Together, this couple hand paints everything in their store, including these beautiful dishes. I love the colors. So next time you're in Spoleto, keep an eye out for Ceramiche La Torre. Before we leave, I wanted to share with you these beautiful, misty views of the hills surrounding Spoleto. Filled with centuries and millennia of history, perhaps they will inspire you to make a visit. Until next time, thanks for taking another trip with me, Alexandra.